Hello there. Today is my book review of Bridesmaid Undercover. Bridesmaid Undercover by Megan Quinn is part of a Bridesmaid series, the first of which was Bridesmaid for Hire. And just so you know, I'm very biased. Megan Quinn is one of my favorite romance authors. Everly, who we meet in the first book, is boss of an agency that not only helps plan events, especially weddings and receptions, but also offers bridesmaid and maid of honor services. So she finds herself signed up to help someone plan their wedding, bachelorette party, etc. But meanwhile, she's got a huge crush on Hopper, who unfortunately owns the company that hired her. In the meantime, this wedding that she's been hired for is bringing back old friends, one of which used to be the ex-girlfriend of her new crush. So she spends her time actually trying to get him back together with his ex-girlfriend, all the while wishing that he were after her. You can guess that he falls for her at some point, but then there's a conflict of interest because it's his company who hired her. I'm author Nancy Basile and I write murder mysteries. You can download one of my books for free using the link in the description. Now stick around to the end because I will give you my opinion full-fledged of what I think of the conflict of interest in this book. Tropes you'll find in Bridesmaid Undercover include forbidden romance, obviously, because it's a workplace romance, and sort of a friends to lovers, but more like friends to lovers to enemies to lovers. The setting is San Francisco, so I give this buying a timeshare. Not quite here's my new address, because although they visit a few touristy spots, for the most part, they're in office buildings and apartments and things like that. But the settings of the apartments, of course, are all very chic and posh. So it gets buying a timeshare. The characters for Bridesmaid Undercover are not quite trust with my life. I would give them game night invite. I liked the characters, but I have liked the characters in Megan Quinn's other romances much more than these two. Now, I've read reviews where people love this book. It's their favorite Megan Quinn book, where these characters are their favorite Megan Quinn characters, and I just don't see it. I enjoyed Everly, and I really enjoyed Hopper. He makes a buffoon of himself several times, and it's hilarious. But they were definitely not my favorite Megan Quinns, so they get game night invite. Banter. The Banter, however, Netflix streaming comedy. So even though the characters, to me, weren't as funny as some of other characters of Megan Quinn's, the banter was still delightful. That was why they fell for each other, really. They were on the same page about the most goofy, specific things, and that's what they bonded over. They were so hilarious that when they were bantering, no one else in the room mattered. The story, I would say, just one more chapter. Not quite now what. Again, it wasn't my favorite Megan Quinn book, but it was still really funny and really good. And it did keep me interested and keep the pages turning. So that part is true. But like I said, stick around till the end when I tell you my unvarnished opinion of the plot. Spice level. Well, I'm going to say 4 out of 5. It's very close to a 3, however. There's not as much spice in this book as there is in other Megan Quinn romances. But when it does happen, it's very enjoyable. So 4 out of 5. My overall star rating for Bridesmaid Undercover is a 4 out of 5. Like I said, I did enjoy Bridesmaid for Hire much more, the first one in the series, when we first meet Everly and Hopper before they become an interest or a couple. But it's still much better than a lot of books out there. So 4 out of 5. Hey, are you a Megan Quinn fan? If you are, tell me in the comments which series or book is your favorite of Megan Quinn's. And if you're not a Megan Quinn fan, get thee to the library and read some of her books, because you should be a Megan Quinn fan. Her rom-coms are absolutely delightful. If you found this book review helpful, give me a thumbs up. That way other readers can find this video. And then subscribe, because then you'll get more book content like this. Now, as for my unvarnished opinion, look, Everly had this diehard crush on Hopper from the very Oh my God, my watch just scared the bejesus out of me. Anyway, Everly had a big crush on Hopper from the start. In fact, she was pretty much in love with him and had been for months, right? The only thing holding her back was that how could he possibly ever fall in love with her? He was way too hot, too rich, too successful, blah, 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 blah. The usual self-esteem issues. Okay, I can get behind that, but it went on a little too long. And then by the time they get together and he freaks out, he does freak out, and he freaks out in such a screwed up way that it kind of was too much. And then for him to be like, oh, I can't date you because you work for a company that my company hired, it was a little thin, folks. Little thin for me to go along with. Except I could have gone along with that for a little while, but it went on for a very long time. And he had to try again and again and again to get her back. Now, I don't think that it was plausible enough, but because it's a rom-com, and I love rom-coms, I love Megan Quinn, I went along with it. I think the first time he attempted to get her back, she would have fell for it. I didn't understand the flimsy working for my sister thing. I mean, all the pieces were there. I just never felt like it was as plausible as it could have been, which I get, because sometimes on paper, when you're planning a book, you think this is going to be enough reason, but when you're actually writing it, I don't know. However, again, the rom-com aspect of it kept me reading. I love Megan Quinn. The banter was hilarious. The spicy scenes were lovely spicy. So it was enough to still let me give it a 4 out of 5. And that's my unvarnished opinion. Thanks for watching. I sincerely appreciate you, and I hope you'll be back.